Hello everyone, today I decided to make a video like this where I just sit and talk about art as an experiment content. I don't really have any script like I usually do, but I have a little pointers and I will try to improvise on the way. And the topic, as you know from the name of this video, is the how to draw head using boxes. When someone asks me how to draw head, I usually just say, I don't know, I just draw it. Yeah, maybe it sounds like an excuse, but it's true. I like to draw while eyeballing all parts of the face and developing better look by fixing it along the way, which is sort of effective. At least it seems to be effective for me. But for someone who just learning how to draw, it is a difficult task because they don't have that much experience to decide what to fix. So it just looks not good enough, so you decide to fix, but you don't know what to fix. So you try to find some technique to draw head, but in the end you get more frustrated because it doesn't quite look like you wanted it to look. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know how to move from that point unless you brute force and draw thousands of bad sketches to slowly improve. And honestly, I still struggle with drawing attractive faces myself, but I have sense of that I'm going in the right way when I sketch and learn something. So I have a few recommendations about overall drawing, I would say, not only today's topic. So first off is fundamentals. This is already a stupid amount how much I've said this before, but please study and learn fundamentals of the art. I know it's some sort of boring part of the art, but you can't even imagine how much things will make sense if you learn them. So first thing to learn is line and shape. Line and shape, learning gesture and flow, control and precision. I never talk about it before in my videos because this is the easiest part for me for some reason. I don't know why though. So I thought it is naturally easy for everyone. Second fundamental to learn is perspective and form. And it is for understanding 3D structure and camera angles and more dynamic vision and so much more things. This is the most difficult part for me, and I think I need to practice this more because I neglect using the techniques of drawing perspective all the time and try to just eyeball it. Probably I shouldn't do that because my drawing might become more jankier. Value and lighting. So it is just light, shadow, contrast and depth through the tone. And I'll be honest here, I never really tried to study these parts, so I just rely on my feeling on drawing. So I need to actually study it, I guess. And the next fundamental is color and composition. Why I'm trying to connect these two, because most of the time your composition depends on the color as well, like color, temperature, harmony. And again, I didn't actually study this as well. Rely on my feelings again and the physics knowledge most of the time. That's why I suck at coloring. For this fundamental knowledge, I recommend this video. I think this guy knows what is he doing while drawing, unlike myself. So next up is anatomy, and maybe everyone will study this more than anything, and I'm quite experienced in studying this, and people forget that you have to study other human stuff like hair, clothing, or even props, folds, and etc. And the last fundamental is rendering and texture. Well, just copying and understanding the nature of the thing that you're drawing is enough, I think. I might be wrong here though, but that's how I usually study the text. Well, just copying from real life mostly, and copying from other artists as well. While learning this, you have to learn 2 or more 3 things at once, because drawing is implementation all of this and they interconnect naturally between them. And for instance, when you learn form, it improves your lighting and shadow, and lighting improves rendering. I still think that I need to practice more and relearn fundamentals again, because I obviously missed some part of this and already thought that I'm experienced enough, but no, I still struggle with all the aspects of drawing. That's why I made a second Twitter account where I'll be posting my sketches, maybe some studies in the future if I ever will do them. Also, you can join my Discord server where you can talk with people about art. And back to the topic of how to draw heads using boxes. The thing that you don't really learn and comes with their intuition experience is drawing attractive faces. Obviously, I'm talking about anime-like art style. When you draw head from tutorial, please think about character you're drawing too. And it includes expression, angle, and how good it will look when you plan out the drawing. You probably want to draw attractive looking faces and characters, so you should focus on that part mostly when you draw the head and face. Tutorial usually will teach you basic stuff like placements and plane of head and shape. Observe lots of art and artists and think about why does it look good, and so learn drawing expressions to make your character look more lively. The last tip before this tutorial is about 3D thinking. I don't really know how difficult it is because I usually think about depth unconsciously. Whenever I draw, I imagine 3D shape and depth of the head shape that I'm drawing. Like if I draw this kind of shape, I already can see the lines I need to draw in this particular perspective. I guess to compensate that, you just need to start using guidelines and boxes, and with that I smoothly move on to actually how to draw. Honestly, I don't think anyone who showed box drawing to head actually used their own method, but for their defense it's a good starting point for understanding shape and head and first step to become good at it. But the tutorial I will show today is 100% working because the person who made this tutorial actually used this way of drawing, and tutorial is made by Anno Masuto, Japanese animator. Actually makes sense that he used this method because animators have to be consistent, and this allows to be more precise with the perspective and proportion. Keep in mind that you have to learn face planes and anatomy of the head to actually be able to learn draw things like this. So originally this post was in Japanese, roughly translated, but it works. I hope he doesn't really mind me using this in my video, but I leave the credits. The steps of this tutorial: first, obviously, just draw a box. And the second step is divide the faces of the box into 4 parts to make sort of a cross for the face. And the third step, drawing the outline like this. And of course, it will change depending on the style and the type of a character you're trying to draw. And the next step is sketching the rough structure of the head. Well, it is the most difficult part, as you can see, like jumping from this to this. The next step is refining the shape, the most easy part probably, and it's done. Why do I think it is a good tutorial? As I said before, it allows to be more precise with the drawing, and also you will compensate your inexperience with 3D thinking by using this kind of guidelines. You'll be able to draw head with right measurements. Well, I guess I'll also try to use this method of drawing because it will be lame if I don't actually draw anything and show it on video. Duh. I will be adding my comments on every step while I draw. I'll probably start with the most basic stuff. Well, drawing a box might be challenging, but you have to think about perspective and vanishing point where lines of the box have to converge. So let me make a new layer and draw. Let's draw horizon line like this. So yeah, you probably know about perspective, like 1 point perspective. Like 1 point, super simple, where you just do it like so. Tools for drawing the vanishing point like this, you can use it to make it easier for you, but for the sake of the tutorial I'll just draw it because some people might know how to do it. So yeah, what I'm going to do right now is draw probably in 2 vanishing points. So 1 point perspective where you can see just the lines are going into one direction to this point. So I could draw a box. Doesn't really look that good, isn't it? This looks kind of boring, but so to make a 2 point perspective, I'll draw 2 vanishing points, and it does look already more interesting because I could draw a box like so, then this too. Oh, you can actually see the shape of the box already. The second vanishing point is somewhere on the left side, maybe a bit further, like somewhere there. I think it's enough for the box. I'll draw the vertical lines first, like, I don't know, maybe like this. I actually need to do before I draw these lines because it would be much more easier if I draw the vertical line first. This is the corner of the box that is facing us. Let's connect the vanishing points from top and bottom of that vertical line. I almost forgot about the portions of the box. I guess it can be like 3. So this is probably like 3, maybe like 3, 4, 3. So the head is slightly taller than its wide, but I think for anime-like faces, I could draw even slightly squished or less taller. 3.5 is okay. Once we've drawn the box, time to divide it. It might be difficult to point out how to find the center line. You can just eyeball it since we've drawn the box like crosshair like this. It works too. But since we've drawn a box like this, let's find the center using geometry. We just have to draw X and connect corners with diagonal lines in perspective. Like so. I connect this like this. The corners, boom, boom. This. But to draw this, I need to use vanishing point again. From this point to this point. To find the second central line, just need to point this part to this place. And we have our crosshair easily. This works even when the plane is tilted and distorted. Let's look at the next step. Drawing outline of the head on the surface. Just fit this kind of shape in the box. Don't worry, it will take time to draw it if you never drew one of those before. It's also a bit difficult to draw on perspective. But I think this box is too wide, isn't it? Try to draw on the perspective. Now the most difficult part, and for the next step I highly recommend studying planes of the head because it's actually important to be able to draw like this. You will be able to understand how light hits plane, draw solid and believable faces under lighting, for example. We don't really have any light in this drawing though, but it's important anyway. You could study this Asaro head to understand the planes of the face, as you can see in here. It's really important to understand the face anatomy. And the skull will let us improve our drawing right here, so we could see where we will draw the line, vertical line, sketching the rough structure of the head. So how am I going to do this? Connect these two lines with like oval shape that's a bit sticks out from this. This is probably our eye line. So from here, you draw ear a bit lower than this line on the center. So we draw ear and then connect. So it does look like a head shape right now. The eyes might be a bit too small, but if we add some eyelash, it should look okay. And also this part of the eye just goes inward. Last step is the easiest. On a second thought, it might be the most difficult. In this part, if you want to draw a pretty face, you might struggle. I already made video about how to draw eyes. You can check it out after this video to understand how to do it. But roughly it requires 3D thinking again. Anime stylized faces, eyes are the biggest attraction because it's the biggest and most detailed face feature in the anime stylized face. So let me try to draw the actual. and I think it's done. Pretty good looking face, isn't it? So this tutorial works pretty fine. Also draw the ear maybe. That's basically it. So for the hair, you just add the hair on these lines probably. I could draw hair for her. Well, you can just keep drawing unless you get bored of it. What do I think about this method of drawing? I'll probably never using it again because it requires too much time for just drawing a head. I can say this because I'm experienced in drawing anime stylist head shapes and such. You can cut corners and skip using box and draw out guidelines and do that. Or you can cut every step and just draw head with lines depends on your level. Honestly, there's also so much things to learn that I didn't talk about, but now you know the learning curve. You start with conscious incompetence, you see your flaws, but can't fix them yet. This is the hardest phase, frustration is high, but it's also where real learning starts. And then you'll get to the conscious competence, so that you can draw well if you focus enough and you understand what you're doing. But it's not like it's automatic. I think I'm around this phase right now, and then you get to phase of unconscious competence where you can draw like it becomes your second nature, freely and effortlessly draw, and finally focusing on expressing and illustrating. And maybe the final tip for this video today, and it's also based on my experience: accept yourself. Where are you right now? Because it is a vital part of your growth.